The beat of the city. Speech. Street beat.
To the beat, y'all, and you don't stop.
Tony B.
Talk to him.
Q93.
Stay in tune with it.
Connects you to the community.
Yeah.
With Street Beat.
You know what it is. KUBE93.
Good morning and welcome to this week's edition of Street Beat. Street Beat is KUBE93's public affairs show that keeps you in touch with the beat of the city. It's me, your host, Tony B, and yes, we have another great show planned for you this morning. We told you that 2010 was going to be something special, and it has been and will continue to be. On to this week's show. Joining us on the show this morning will be a couple of local people. This is kind of the anniversary of the inauguration of the first African-American president, which was a very historical event. It's not a matter of what your politics are. It was a very historical event, the inauguration of the first African-American president, President Barack Obama. Well, you know, if you followed the campaigns of either, but in particular Barack Obama's campaign, you might remember a chant called Fired Up and Ready to Go that was done by, it was started by Edith Childs. Edith Childs, the councilwoman, stood up and said, "We are fired up and ready to go." Then she said it louder and they began to chant it, and before you know it, it was the theme for the entire Barack Obama campaign. Well, it turned into a song as well. Who wrote the song? Two gentlemen right here from the Northwest in Kirkland, Joe and John Bergevin, and they're going to be joining us right here on Street Beat. So again, my guest joining me will be Najee. He'll be here with us a little bit later. Joining me here in a few will be the Bergevin brothers, John and Joe, who are going to share with us their story about how they became involved with the Barack Obama campaign and were essentially part of history with the song that they wrote. We'll be back to talk with our guests right after this song from the Bergevin brothers, Virtue.
Advocate for yourself and for others. Caring. Give to them your heartfelt efforts. Cleanliness. Take care of you and your surroundings. Commitment. Keep your promises and keep on trying. Compassion. Feel strong feelings outside yourself. Confidence. Be secure in who you are, your health and your wealth. Consideration. Pause to think of others' pasts and emotions. Cooperation. Work together from here at home and across the ocean. Forgiven, integrity, joyfulness, justice, kindness, love, loyalty, moderation, modesty, worthiness. Through peace we keep our house in order. There is nothing
Welcome back to Street Beat. It's me, your host, Tony B. Joining us a little later in the program will be Najee. Joining us right now, quite a story. If you're talking about reliving and recapturing last year's magic of the inauguration, a very, very historical moment, no matter what your politics were. So we're going to kind of revisit that. Joining me on the program, a couple of gentlemen right here from the Northwest who wound up in the eye of the hurricane of what at that time was the Barack Obama campaign. Joe and John Bergevin. How are you guys doing?
Fabulous. How are you doing today?
Doing great. I'm going to let you tell the story. First of all, I have a CD in my hand, 7 Songs for America and 1 for the World, that you two put together. And you know what, Joe, I want to start with you. Let's talk about what this project is first and how it all came together.
Well, thanks, Tony. It didn't start as an album project, really. Innocently enough, my wife and I went down to an event on December 11th, 2007, that Barack Obama was going to be speaking. After he spoke, he came up to me and I said, yeah, I just want to say, I think you're going to get the job done this coming year. And he said, you know, with your help, I will. With your help. And I kind of felt right then, felt like I was charged to do something, you know, and then so thinking for a couple week period, I didn't really know what my help was going to be, and I kind of already thought my wife had been given the help he was talking about, you know, and making phone calls and stuff. But it hit me one day while I was listening on the internet. He was talking about Edith Childs and the story, the Fired Up Ready to Go story. I'm playing with my kids in the playroom and listening to this on the internet, and I'm like, you know what, that's a perfect song. That would be a perfect song. And within probably an hour, I had the words sketched out for this song. I mean, it went
about
fast.
An hour.
It went fast. It was like coming and coming and coming fast. You can hear there's, you know, something bigger than I'm capable of doing here. So I called Brother John, who's more of a music producer and has a background in this, and I said, we've got to do something here. You know, I hope you will help. And he said, you know, we could get the Total Experience Gospel Choir. I think I could call Pat. And then he also called Matt Cameron from Pearl Jam. So it really wasn't days later. I think we went on Martin Luther King Jr. Day that year, 2 years ago, and did the recording. And within 8 or 9 days later, it was posted up to YouTube. And immediately, the campaign got wind of it. And the Chicago office was talking with us. And by February 8th, we were at Key Arena with 24,000 people, and Brother John here was the introductory act with Pat and Matt Cameron.
Right here at Key
Arena yeah.
in Seattle. John, I want to bring you into the conversation here at that point. For you, what were the feelings that were going through you at this time, having all of this happen in such a short amount of time, and then before you know it, you're on the stage with soon-to-be President Barack Obama?
It's hard to describe the feeling. Partial exhaustion, because it takes a heck of a lot to put something that big together that quickly, but complete and teetotal excitement, almost surreal feeling. Being checked out by the Secret Service, our entire choir had to be checked out. All of this sort of hoops had to be jumped through, and sitting right behind the governor's husband. And I mean, it was probably one of the high points of my career or life, actually, I would say.
We'll be back to talk with our guests, the Bergevin brothers.
Advocate for yourself and